Thank you for checking out crypto.chartguys.com, the source for technical analysis in the cryptocurrency world. We are proud to announce our own crypto alert system designed to give you the most critical technical trading information possible no matter where you are. Keep your eyes on the market with mobile or email alerts for MACD crosses, RSI levels, and even inside bar alerts for dozens of coins across multiple exchanges. New features and proprietary ChartGuys indicators are already in development. Our alert system is very easy to customize and utilize, so don't hesitate to sign up for the most effective crypto trading tool on the market at crypto.chartguys.com. Hello crypto friends, hope you're doing well. We're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum Litecoin, and BCH on the weekly time frame, and then we'll zoom in. Before I get into it, what I want to start on is talking about shorts as Bitcoin approaches 10,000. Shorts and short squeezes, just real briefly. So first off, a real rough, easy way to understand it is if you are shorting, you are borrowing Bitcoin. So let's say I want to short 1 Bitcoin. I borrow 1 Bitcoin from the exchange. They give it to me, and then I sell it. I now owe the exchange 1 Bitcoin, whether I buy it back cheaper and can keep the difference, or whether I have to buy it back more expensive and have to pay more money to give them back that Bitcoin, doesn't matter to them. They just want their 1 Bitcoin when the trade is done with. So we're in a scenario where a short squeeze is when a key break of resistance happens, the bulls pile into the trade, and not only do you have bulls entering the positions, but you have shorts that need to cover their position buying back as well. So it's essentially double the buying power, where these shorts have to buy at the ask in order to fulfill their coins and then be able to give it back to the exchange. And again, the fact that the bulls are market buying and then the shorts are market buying at the same time, that's when we have those huge moves to the upside. So here's the chart of BTC USD short on Bitfinex, and you can see that we've been in a downtrend on the daily time frame. The most explosive scenarios for short squeezes are when the shorts are high, there's a lot of shorts, and we see a move that is unsuspected, and it catches the shorts by surprise, and it forces everybody to cover at once. So we can see that happened on 4/12. Well, what happened on May 12th or April 12th? That's when on Bitcoin we had our equilibrium break bullish. So we had been in a downtrend, we had been very weak for months at that point, and we had the daily equilibrium break bullish. And in that instantaneous break, not only did we have everybody like me buying bullish with market orders, but we had all the shorts covering. And that's when we can see the kind of day where we go from 67 up to 805, essentially a 20% day in one day, again, because the shorts were so high. So now we're in a scenario where everybody's looking at 10,000 and everybody's saying, you know, are we going to break 10,000? And if we do, how much significant follow through can we expect from there? Are we going to see a short squeeze? And the answer is the shorts, in my opinion, are not at a point that would warrant a short squeeze. They have pulled back significantly. This is the daily time frame, and they're building a base of support. They're trying to bounce, but the bottom line is they're not extremely high. If they're extremely high, this tells us the market or all the shorts are looking for downside action, and then when we get upside action, that's when we see shorts covering. So here's a scenario where the bulls, or I should say the shorts, are just starting to see some upside, trying to reject the price at 10,000, and if we see a rejection, or if we see the bulls power through 10,000 and a bull break, we'll see these shorts drop off again, and we will see some short squeezing, but we're not going to see the kind of 10% reaction that some people might be hoping for, in my opinion. So you can get some information on shorts, and it tells you, you know, essentially people say it, the shorts got caught with their pants down, and it just means they were unexpecting of the move. This tells me that the shorts have been pricing in and have been realizing that the market is bullish, the fact that we've been in such a clear downtrend, and we're not seeing too much of a bounce here as we try and see a rejection from 10,000 from those bears. So in my opinion, we will still have a battle at 10,000 this weekend, and it's either going to result in a loss of the 4-hour higher lows or a break of 10,000. So what I'm going to be looking at right now on Bitcoin, and need to get out of the shadow here so I got some light on me. We've got the weekly time frame, and again, I keep pointing out the potential that we're going to set a lower high. And every single day that we see another leg up, the odds that we see a bull break from this equilibrium, this potential equilibrium, increase. Can we just see a move right now from these levels and break 11,775 without pulling back and forming a higher low on the weekly time frame? Absolutely, that's a possibility. Is it the more likely scenario? No, it's not, in my opinion, which is why I am positioning myself to anticipate the pullback. If we do get a bull break of 11,775 without weekly consolidation, obviously the weekly chart is going to shift bullish, but it's not going to be the same kind of push after that break that we would anticipate if we set a lower high and a higher low and see the range continue to tighten. The tighter the range, the more explosive the break, just like back on this daily chart, we got real tight and saw an explosive break. So where we stand on the daily time frame is still extremely strong for the bulls. Higher lows and higher highs every day. The bulls are in control across the board on all of these names at this point. The 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, the last higher low was formed all the way down at 9,539. We could pull back $300, $250 and still be forming 4-hour higher lows. We have to keep that in mind as well. Hourly time frame, if you want to keep tighter stops, the hourly support is trying to hold at 9,860. If we break that level, the last higher low, there's some support levels mixed in, but the last higher low is 9,765. So just looking at this chart, again, my personal game plan over the past few days has been very cautious, knowing that the daily chart and potentially the weekly chart are going to see some consolidation sooner rather than later. But my strategy is to lock in profit every day. Every day that the bulls give me the opportunity for a day maker, I'm going to take it. And I'm going to lock in that profit, and then I'll try and do it again tomorrow if the bulls provide that opportunity. And then once the pullback happens, I'll be all cash and patiently waiting for another opportunity. So that's just the strategy for me. Again, am I leaving some money on the table over the last 4 days? Absolutely. But it has me a lot more comfortable and allows me to play all in with my positions, knowing that I'm going to protect myself against a significant drop. Whereas if I'm all in and we see, the kind of drop where Ethereum the other day, if I were all in on Ethereum and holding through this drop from 805 to 761, that is a very significant drop. A day maker for me is 1%. So going from 805 down to 760, that is $45. That's essentially 5%. And that is way too much for me to be risking on an individual trade. So I have to keep a tight wiggle room or a tight stop loss to prevent from significant wiggle room because I'm using a larger position. If you're using a quarter position, a half position, you can have more space without that loss getting too significant on you. So let's go through where we stand right now on Bitcoin. I'm in a position. Now, where did I enter position? A lot of people are struggling with entries because we haven't seen bullish action like this in a while, which is just slow and steady bulls following through. And for me, I made an entry on a bull break of resistance, and it was at 9,730. So we had an equilibrium yesterday with our high, low, lower high, higher low, another lower high here, and then we broke this lower high of 9,712. That was a bull break, and then we stalled out a little bit, and so I entered on the next bull break up and the follow through to establish the higher low and higher high, and so that level was at 9,600, 9,730 is where I got in on the bull break, and I put my stop right here at 9,668. So essentially I was risking about 65 with slippage, $75, let's call it, and the reward that I was looking for was a break of 9,800 and to sell in the upper 9,800s. So 2-to-1 risk to reward, risk about $75, reward about $150 plus in terms of Bitcoin price movement. So I have been scaling out. I scaled out half of my position in the upper 9,800s, lower 9,900s, and I'm keeping half of my position to give the bulls a chance to break 10,000. That being said, I have been walking up my stop loss, so I'm going to ensure that no matter what, I have my day maker already made. And because I locked in half my profit, if I get stopped out of the other half, it's no big deal because, again, day maker has been made and we can pull back and establish a new higher low on the 4-hour time frame. That's what we're going to be looking for on any consolidation from here. Even if we lose the hourly higher low support, 4-hour higher low is what we're going to be looking for, again, because the last level that was established was 9,539. That was a while ago. We can absolutely establish another 4-hour higher low if we can't break 10,000 resistance at this point. If we break 10,000, I'll expect to get to 10,100 very quickly. But in terms of, like I said, a 5% follow through on the 10,000 break, I don't anticipate that happening. I don't see the short scenario set up for that, and I don't see the kind of bull volume that would warrant that kind of follow through from 10,000. So that's just my perception and opinion in the next couple of days. And the bottom line, as long as 4-hour higher lows hold, bulls remain in full control. And again, we're in a scenario where unless we see a huge bear volume dump, that's not going to change today. So the bulls have control today. The question is, do we lose the hourly higher lows and start our 4-hour consolidation, or do we head up and break 10,000 resistance? So we've had opportunity in all three of these names and the opportunity to bounce around into different positions. So I did the video yesterday on Litecoin, and you can tell by my face and you can tell by how I was thrown off, really, where I get in this zone in these videos and the flow where it's just there's no barrier between my brain and my mouth. It just flows. But you could see yesterday in the video where I got to Litecoin and I stopped and I had to check the order book, and it kind of threw me off, and I was quiet for a little bit. That's when I was recognizing we're about to see the potential key break on Litecoin, and I might want a position here. So I did end up on getting a position on Litecoin after that video and in that breakout, but unfortunately it was not the position I wanted because I talked too much during the video and I missed my ideal entry. So we'll review that in just a second. But look at how perfect this weekly equilibrium is for Litecoin, and we'll get to Ethereum next. But high, low, lower high, higher low, anything under 252 is a lower high for Litecoin. So we could still see another 20%, another 25%, and still form a lower high on Litecoin. So again, that's another reason that I'm looking for these equilibriums to remain in place. The amount of strength that we would need to follow through from this point, having already been bullish for 5 weeks in a row, is significant. So Litecoin's going to likely give us a beautiful equilibrium into this summer, perhaps late June, maybe July. We'll see how it goes, but we'll be looking for that break to give clarity on the second half of the year and more significant, very clear direction. But for now, bulls still in full control and catching up. So I said in the video, you know, Litecoin, I've been saying in the video, I've been trashing Litecoin and saying Litecoin is clearly the weakest name. You've been hearing me say it day after day, but that doesn't mean take your eye off it. That means don't trade it, absolutely, but keep your eye on it because we do have these laggard situations. Ethereum was the lead bear for months and months, and then it's exploded 100% in the last 5 weeks. Here we have Litecoin lagging behind the other names for the last month, and here it's playing catch up now the last couple of days. So the bull break that happened in the video while I was recording it was right down here in the 163s. We have multiple tops at these levels, and then you can see the bulls haven't looked back since then. So because I was late on the trade and entering when it was in overbought short-term conditions, I just treated it like a scalp, and I bought in and flipped it for, you know, maybe $2-3 profit. And I did that twice, just accepting small gains and not wanting to put a whole lot of risk. It's the kind of scenario where if you do not hit the ideal setup and you don't hit the entry, because again, for me, I was busy doing this video, but whatever the reason is, that's the scenario where you don't want to compensate and say, well, the signal was at 163 breaking and 165 breaking. Here we are at 170. I still want to get in because I knew this break was coming. Well, you knew this break was coming $5 ago, and you're shifting the risk to reward profile of the trade significantly if you're getting in $5 later than you would have originally anticipated on that signal. So it's a kind of thing that I'll stay back on, and I'll not have FOMO and watch it run without me in most instances. But in the instance yesterday, there were a couple minor details in the order book and things like that that allowed me to make those little scalps. So we have an hourly higher low of 176.50. If that level is lost, I'm looking down at 171.51. Not a ton of support in this area established, and the potential for an equilibrium is forming right now. The resistance is 182.35, and we look at the next resistance on the daily after this point, and it's up at 194.47. So the benefit of Litecoin is the lack of resistance in these areas, and we could see once we broke 165, there was nothing to 160 or to 170, and now we're looking up to 194 if the bulls can see continuation. 4-hour higher lows, haven't established one in a while, and remember, this isn't a higher low in my opinion because it's just continuation of the same bull move. It's a red candle, absolutely, but it's still higher lows and higher highs. Every single 4-hour candlestick in the last 7 have been higher lows and higher highs. So I would consider this a base of support built here with these 2 candlesticks. That's down at 150. Need to get rid of that line so I can read it. 158.60, 158.67. So those are definitely 2 resistance levels to be watching, or 2 support levels, but we're going to form a 4-hour higher low above that level. This is just the kind of chart with the RSI on the 4-hour approaching 80 and just getting a little overextended, running away from exponential moving averages. A lack of nearby support would have me, again, more cautious and wanting to lock in trades, because my perspective of the longer term pattern is that we could set a top any day and start consolidating on the weekly time frame. And I personally do not want to be holding when that is the case. I want to be all cash. So bulls still in control, still strong on Litecoin. and we'll be looking for 4-hour consolidation if we lose the hourly higher lows, and that last hourly higher low again was right there at 176.50. So if we lose 176.50, we know 4-hour consolidation is coming. So that's a little lesson right there. When you're looking at different time frames, if I'm looking at the hourly uptrend, we lose it, I know 4-hour consolidation is coming. If we lose the 4-hour uptrend, I know daily consolidation is coming. If we lose the daily higher low pattern, I know weekly consolidation is coming. So you can almost zoom out and look one time frame further by recognizing a trend change on the shorter term time frames. So that's what we have for Litecoin. Definitely still a lot of opportunity there. If the Bitcoin bulls do break 10,000, it's almost a guessing game at this point as to who's going to be the strongest. You know, we had Ethereum as the strongest bull the last few days. Now we got Litecoin as the strongest bull. Is Bitcoin going to take the lead as the strongest bull at some point? It's constantly shifting, and that's why I've traded all of the big three yesterday. Yesterday I traded all of them, and that's the first time I've done that in a really long time, because when they're so closely linked together with correlation, it doesn't really matter. You know, if one's going 4% and one's going 4.5%, you're not going to try and you know, put a whole lot of effort into discerning which one's going to be the strongest because they're so close. But when you have these big discrepancies where, you know, in a certain period of time, if Litecoin's going to run 5 to 8% and Bitcoin's only going to run 3 to 4% in that same time frame, then it does pay to notice these slight variations and notice where the most action and explosive action is. Another thing with when I'm trading is whether I'm trading Bitcoin or Litecoin is determined by whether I'm around. So when I'm in Bitcoin, I'm a lot more comfortable being in Bitcoin if I'm going out for today. So let's say I want to make an entry and I'm not going to be at the computer for the next 5 hours and I got things to do today or tonight. That's when I want to be in Bitcoin. If I'm in this Litecoin breakout, this is the kind of move that I want to be at the computer for, because it's so fast moving and there's such wild fluctuations where, you know, we go all the way up to 173 and then we pull back down to 168. And there's definitely multiple percent opportunities within those ranges to make trades, but it moves so quickly that, again, it's the kind of thing where I'm not comfortable being out for the day while in a full Litecoin position. I have to be at the computer because it's more explosive, it moves more rapidly, and I definitely want to monitor that position closer than if it's on Bitcoin. Checking in on Ethereum. So Ethereum's still very strong, but it's starting to get excuse me, starting to get a little more pullback now on Ethereum, and that's because Bitcoin is as well. So Bitcoin's about to break some support. This is still very healthy consolidation on Bitcoin. And again, you just need to look at the hourly time frame and see that. Just had to cut the video because my throat is acting up, but we've got a pullback underway right now, and we're looking at the last major higher low on the hourly time frame for the bulls. That's at 9,765. And if we're going to see a reversal from this kind of top, unless we see a big volume flush, I do believe we have the potential of a bearish reversal head and shoulders with our left shoulder, the head, and then if we bounce from this area and set a lower high and then a lower low on the hourly, that is when we will look for more prolonged consolidation. And I would call that a failed attempt at 10,000 for now. But we still have the possibility to hold just another higher low compared to 97.65 and see continuation of this move for the bulls. So that's what we're looking at right now, and it's leading to consolidation for everybody across the space. So Ethereum pulling back on the 4-hour time frame, anything above this last low of 761.11 is going to be a higher low on the 4-hour time frame. We're well above exponential support. The hourly time frame is losing its higher lows right now and is losing exponential support. But again, 4-hour chart is what has been our guide, keeping the bulls in control for so long, and that's not going to change anytime soon unless things get really ugly with bear volume triggering a lot of stops. So pulling back healthy on the 4-hour and consolidation, not leading to a trend change and not leading to daily consolidation until we lose the 4-hour higher low pattern. This video is getting way longer than anticipated, so I'll wrap it up quickly with BCH. Weekly time frame broke a key resistance. The last bounce attempt topped out at 1630. We got over that level. BCH has been a shining star today, breaking out in a big way. Inside bar on the daily, 1548.50 was that signal. Here we are all the way up at 1731. Huge follow through on that daily inside bar bull break. 4-hour needs to consolidate and form a higher low. The last higher low on the 4-hour is 1453. So nowhere near the current price. And consolidation would be healthy. We're not going to change the trend anytime soon because we can pull back so far and still be maintaining 4-hour higher lows. Hourly, still a potential bull flag. Bulls would love to hold 1668. They don't have to remain their strongest. I mean, they would to remain their strongest, but they don't have to remain strong is the point. And resistance after 1731. The next resistance on the daily chart is all the way up at 1787 and then 2110. So we're getting to areas now with lack of resistance on some of these names. BCH is one of them, but it had significant follow through on the 15-minute breakout of that daily inside bar. And we are seeing, again, some lower highs and lower lows on the 15-minute time frame. But when you zoom out to the longer term, you can say, okay, we could consolidate significantly and still be just fine for the bulls on this 4-hour time frame. So as we wrap up this video, where we stand is we are not looking like a break of 10,000 on Bitcoin is going to happen right now. Maybe tonight if the bulls see a V-shaped recovery, but we're looking for a healthy 4-hour consolidation to establish another 4-hour higher low, and the bulls will keep this uptrend in their favor as long as the 4-hour higher lows remain. So once this consolidation on Bitcoin reaches a point where we set a base and see continuation, I will use that new base as a stop level for my remaining. At this point, it's probably a 40% position I have left on Bitcoin from my earlier entry. So I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you all continue to do good things. It's a wonderful weekend out there, and I will leave you all with the sunrise this morning from the back deck. I certainly love waking up with the sun, before the sun, and setting the intention to have a really productive day and hitting the ground running right off the bat. And then once you do that, once you do have that wake up early and get some things knocked off the list and accomplished, then it's very easy to relax for a while and either go back to sleep or do whatever. You have the luxury of time on your side rather than, waking up at 11 a.m. and half the day's already gone already. So I'm definitely a morning person, and this is what I was watching this morning while I prepared some MJ videos. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. So here's where you're supposed to be hearing birds chirping and the breeze blowing and some water splashing against the side of boats. Maybe a faint violin off in the distance with some horns in a crescendo, getting slightly louder, inspirational, motivational, and then that's that. Use your imagination.